if I will make, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, 10 people open their minds and understand something from this interview, okay, and take it for their life, it's valuable for me. Yeah, life is not a casino, okay? Yeah, it's always better to have 1% in Google, okay, than 100% in Schmoogle. How can you build 77 apartments without having any invoice, without paying any tax? How can you do it? Eventually, if you're Jewish, you need to prove yourself even more. You need to be better than others to get successful. You have no other choice. You will not be there otherwise. I believe that whatever you give, you get much more back. And if you don't want to give, you will never get. Trust the government is being dependent on the government. That's what's communism. People, especially the older people, for them, becoming capitalistic country, it's a trauma. Everywhere you go now, you're in danger. You have a secured zone, you manufacture anything you want, you export it anywhere you want, pay nothing. So it's heaven.
Mr. Benish, thank you very much for being here and Sakartvelo Insight. Our goal is to raise awareness about Georgia around the world, and we interview prominent people that are building Georgia brick by brick and since a long time, and that's why we wanted to have you, so very pleased to have you. Mr. Benish, I would like to ask you, who was Meni Benish at 7?
7?
Yes.
Age of 7?
Yeah, just age of 7.
Wow. Difficult to remember. Actually, it was 45 years ago. But just a Jewish boy that wasn't even aware of what is being Jewish here in Georgia, in Poti. In the 2nd grade in the school, one of the best students in the school. Actually, I remember that there was a very small group in the class that we were the best students when we were studying together, playing together. I was living not far from the school. Basically, my mom was growing us because my father was far away. And my mom was growing me and my sister. She's smaller than me. When I was 7, she was about 5. And it wasn't easy. We were living with my grandmother in Poti. But it was the age actually that I started that whatever you need, first of all, you need to survive. And then the sky is the limit. Because you need to study, you need to be best, you need to be, you need to choose where you want to go. And in that age that I see that everybody around me has a father, and I don't, it just made me stronger. Made me stronger because I saw how my mom is trying hard to grow us, to take care of us, to keep us studying, I was playing piano, I was playing Schach, chess, I was doing so many things in that difficult time for us, for the family, even though, I mean, we understood that without aiming high, you will not get anywhere.
It was hard financially, or it was
yes,
hard?
Mm-hmm. Of course, financially, because basically my grandfather passed away when I was 4. My grandmother used to work in a factory. My mom was taking care of 2 little children, and it wasn't so easy.
Is this at this moment that you understand I need to reach high, I need to change my life completely? Did you have any ideas of or models of success around you or in the books of how did you get this idea I need to be successful?
Look, I didn't really know what is Israel at that time, okay? But I knew that I'm different, I'm Jewish, okay? And eventually, if you're Jewish, you need to prove yourself even more. You need to be better than others to get successful, to get better job. The awareness of capitalism, okay, wasn't there. It's just getting a better job. So if you want to get a better job, you need to be better. Even that time, everything was based on connections and family connections and bribe or whatever. Okay, so as a child, in that age, I didn't know what is bribe, but I did know that if you are good, you will get better chances.
So this is at this time you start working on yourself, learning more.
Yeah, I was a very good student. I mean, I remember that my grades were the best in the class. I became a pioneer. That time, communists had pioneers. I mean, they used to give you some red tie, and that time the average age was in the 4th grade. I got it in the 3rd grade because I was one of the best. So there were about 4 people in the all 3rd grade that got it in the 3rd grade.
Mr. Benish, can I ask you, what gave you the idea or the wish to go back to Georgia? What was the change that were happening here?
Very good question. That time, me and my father were partners in the business. And my father was telling me, look, I have some friends in Georgia. Let's go to see what's the potential there. What can we do there? Maybe we'll do something. And I came with him. I tried not to come. I didn't like the idea. Said, what? It's the end of the world. Third world country. Nothing good going to happen there. I don't know what's the kind of security we need. And I didn't like the idea. Anyway, after pushing me about a year, he convinced me to come here. And I came here. He was already living here, kind of living here a few months. And they came here and meeting me with bodyguards and a driver. And in Israel, never had bodyguards. Even here, it's only just because of the political problem that there was here lately. I will explain you later. It was a strange visit for me because I didn't really understand the language. I understand much more than I could speak. So I was speaking English to everyone, okay? And that time I met 2 guys that eventually became my partners. And I started to understand the potential here because lots of Israelis came here, mostly land speculations. They were buying lands and trying to sell it in the plane, flying back. And a lot of lands here still belong to Israelis. They didn't really know what to do with them, okay? Because they believed that one day the price will go up, and actually it was happening before the war in 2008 with Russia. So the motivation to do business in Georgia wasn't there before I came here. Only when I came here and they met my partners, basically the motivation was grown because, or even born. My father started a real estate business here to build one residential building of 77 apartments. He started to do it with his friend from childhood. And eventually, without my existing partners, this business would not only lose money, but my father would lose money, but also he might become involved in some criminal offense because they plan to do this project as some kind of organization that they will not have to pay VAT, and eventually there will be no taxes. And I asked a very simple question: how can you build 77 apartments without having any invoice, without paying any tax? How can you do it? I said, yeah, we have 77 buyers, we are building it for them, they are paying it and they are covering it, and eventually we will not have to pay. I said, okay, I don't want to go to jail in Georgia because somebody is telling you stupid ideas and somebody is advising you problematic things, then eventually you might spend some more years after 9 years in Siberia in Georgia. So let's give up on this idea. My partners that time, those 2 gentlemen that I met here, young people that were super educated, super motivated, I asked them for help, and one of them was financial expert and the other one was a lawyer. We changed everything. Eventually we finished this project. We built this 77 apartments. We didn't make a single dollar profit, okay? Because when you build, 77 apartments and you don't have any invoice for the expenses, okay, but you have invoices for the income, you can make a profit because you can't explain the expenses.
Of course.
But at least we delivered those apartments, okay, and we finished the project. But we understood what we can't do. Everything should be in order. Everything should be planned. Everything should be written properly. Otherwise, you're just doing something that it can't be scaled. And from that idea, we built Archi, which is the most successful real estate company in Georgia. I guess the most successful. We don't really, it took us, now it's 17 years, 16 years that the company is building in Georgia. And I don't think that we really have competition in terms of brand awareness, okay, and the quality, or, in any research that we make in the market, Archi is always the winner in any parameter, in the quality, in the brand awareness, in the quality of service. And the biggest aim of the company is keeping our customers happy. And it's the most difficult, because in real estate there is always problems. Sometimes you're late, sometimes the quality of the product is not what they expected. Sometimes they imagine that the size of the apartment will be different from what they get. But we have an attitude in the company. We have about 300 employees, that every employee in the company is responsible for his position, for the happiness of the customer. And it was years of education, years of communication with the employees, and whoever is not qualified for that position, or for that, let's say, attitude, will not be there. And this is one of the things that I'm so proud of my partner, Ilya Zulaya, because he's 40 years old, but he became a lawyer when he was 24, or even younger. Sorry, I met him when he was already a lawyer, 24 years old, but he never stopped learning. Maybe not official, he didn't go to make MBA, or now he's studying in Harvard, but he didn't go to make official MBA, okay? But, studying, I don't remember him without 2-3 books on his table, okay? Sometimes he's staying in the office till midnight just to read another book. And this is something that, people should understand that the path of growing is only through learning, okay? You can learn from other people's mistakes by reading about their mistakes, or you can make the mistake by yourself, which is much more expensive, okay? So if you don't have the awareness that you need to learn, you need to grow all the time, you would just go back. There's no other way. If you don't go forward, you go back, because everybody goes forward. And I think in any competition, when you spend time on learning, spend time on growing, okay, you will get better results than just doing the same. Because if you do the same, other people see what you do. If you do it, and if it's successful, it's just a question of time till they will copy. Okay, so you always need to be better. You will always need to be 2 or 3 steps ahead.
So that goes back to what you were saying previously, that when you were kids, you were always learning, okay, I need to learn all the time. You kept this towards your business, and that's what you implemented also in Archi. Always growing,
yes.
Always learning.
Yes, and I think that since I'm not living here, in the end, the responsibility of the growth of the company is on my partners. Okay, Ilya is the head of the company. He's the mind and the soul of the company. I came with a lot of ideas along the years, and to implement any idea, okay, if I'm not here to manage the things, okay, I'm happy that Ilya had the open mind and the motivation to implement part of the things in the company. And that's what, in the end, the ideas and the hands-on and the everyday 24/7 involvement in the company, okay, what made the change. And this growth is definitely his earning.
Mr. Benish, do you have any other business that takes a lot of your time, that where you're when you're involved, or right now you're at the stage of your life where you invest in companies and you let people drive? Or do you have some companies where you're actively involved to put your brain into those things?
Actually, I'm not involved in any company in everyday management. Okay, so most of my time goes now on new ideas, or new entrepreneurship, or new, let's say, development of sometimes even totally difficult or totally out of the scope for me. Because getting involved into agriculture, for example, it's something that I never planned. But when I see the potential, or when I see the opportunity here in Georgia of amazing land, Okay. By the way, Georgia is 3 times bigger than Israel. Okay, and the kind of soil that we have in Georgia is unique, and the kind of 10,000 rivers and endless water that they have here, and the price of the water for agriculture, it's a dramatic difference between Georgia and Israel. And more of that, when I check the manpower cost in Israel for agriculture, there are no Israelis working in agriculture. Even the Arab Israelis don't want to work in agriculture because in 40 degrees heat, okay, difficult. So most of the agriculture manpower in Israel is basically coming from Philippines and Thailand. Okay, but the cost is about $4,000 for each. They only take home about $2,000. Okay, but the taxes in Israel is about 50%. When you start, for example, if you want to grow, 1 ton of apples, and if you calculate what was the cost of those apples because of the water in Israel, about the manpower, okay, you already start in that point about 3 times more than Georgia. Okay, so when Israel was founded 74 years ago, the only thing was growing in Israel is olives and oranges. Okay, now you can hardly find Israeli oranges. I mean, they only produce what Israel needs because it's more expensive to import. That's the only thing. Yeah, you can find some olives, you can find some dates, but basically the Israeli agriculture totally changed. We export dates. I think Israel is the biggest exporter in dates, but we export, for example, to Russia, peppers, onions, a lot of things, a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. Now in Georgia, Israel has started to grow almonds, blueberries, broccoli, asparagus, and people that they are not involved in agriculture at all. I mean, people from the financial markets found out that the Georgian soil is good and started to do some stuff. And imagine blueberries in Israel cost 15 lari, it's about $5, okay, for a box of 100 grams, 120 grams, okay? If you go to the supermarket now in Georgia, you will find for $5-6 a kilo, okay? So it's almost 9 times more expensive in Israel, okay? So there is almost no Israeli production of blueberries, okay? It's nothing. So why not to take from Georgia to Israel? There are other challenges, okay? There is a tax from Georgia. There is some health department regulations that you need to comply. But it's a challenge, but it can be done. And Israel understands, business-wise, that we need the food security. We need to have all the production in Israel, or at least the ability to produce whatever we need for Israel. But in the end, it's a business. So if you can buy the same product somewhere else, why to produce it in Israel? Okay, so China is the mother of production in the world. Okay, why? Because it's cheaper. It was cheaper. Now it moves to other countries as well. Okay, and even, by the way, Delta or Elbit, it's a huge company in Israel. They started a factory here in Georgia about I think 5 years ago. They opened it. Okay. And now it has about 500 employees, I think, in Georgia. $100 million investment. Why would they do it? Because here, those 500 people cost, let's say, third from what they would cost in Israel, or even less.
Do you feel that Georgians are as productive as Israeli?
Not at all. Far from being. But even if they are less productive, since the margin in the price is so high of the manpower, okay, you can still put some more people to the same job, okay, it will still be cheaper.
So you see a lot of value here in Georgia, in agriculture, in the potential of the dynamism of the market. Do you see industry here or not? Do you see industry growing here?
I think that there are more and more companies bringing industrial opportunities to Georgia because of the same reasons. I mean, the government is trying to attract foreign investors in any way they can. Okay, they have three free industrial zones in Georgia. It means that basically you come, you produce in Georgia, you export it, you pay no tax to Georgia, nothing, zero. It's very unique. Okay, in this region you can hardly find it, and you only pay a 20% tax for the employee's salary. That's it. So you have a secured zone. You manufacture anything you want. You export it anywhere you want. Pay nothing. So it's heaven.
Do you think the government will keep going being pro-business in the future, or do you feel that there is some kind of shift of saying, okay, let's put a little bit more tax, let's have our country a little bit more government more present? How do you feel?
Look, I'm living in a country that I think the taxation there are the highest in the world. Okay, in Israel, on any income, you pay in average 55% tax. And I think that it's a huge mistake, because still in Israel is fighting money laundering, and you can get around, you can't pay cash more than 6,000 shekels, which is about $2,000. Okay, many limits on cash. Money transfers are very difficult. So they are trying to fight with the black money. But from the other hand, any Israeli that becomes big in the international business moves to some offshore or some tax haven, or to some other countries where the taxation is easier. And they keep Israel as a country that they live in. Okay? It's wrong. It's wrong because somebody needs to make the balance. Okay, where should be this tax level or tax percentage in the number that people would not run away just because of tax. And in Georgia, I think that maybe it was the achievement of the previous government, okay, or previous regime, but the taxation is reasonable, okay, and they created a lot of ways to support international investors or international businesses that will move here with very low taxation or almost no taxation. Even in Webis, for example, it's an international company that provides the services 90% or 95% of the product or services we're selling international. Okay, our customers are mostly from Israel. So we are paying 5% tax for the employees even. Okay, so the technology zone became much more attractive also for the developers, for the people that they get paid. They pay, quarter or from any other profession. Okay, so if you're a developer, you pay 5%. If you're a doctor, you pay 20%. Okay, so it gives also a motivation to the people to learn and get education in the right area. There are things that I do, especially for Georgia, because I'm the honorary consul of Georgia in Israel. I'm head of the Chamber of Commerce Israel, Georgia, and I love this country. Okay, so I want the Israeli businessmen, I want the Israeli successful companies to understand that there is a neighbor country. I mean, it's 2 hours flight, it's a neighbor country. Especially when almost all the countries that we live around, okay, yeah, we have peace agreement with Egypt, we have peace agreement with Jordan, but it's not that easy to do business there, okay? So when we have an opportunity to work with a country or with people in a country which are friends of Israel, they love Israel, they love Israelis, they love Jews, okay? I don't think that there's a single country that the Jews can feel safe like Georgia, not even US.
Interesting.
Okay, so by the way, it's a tradition or history of 2,600 years of friendship between the Jewish people and the Georgian people. Okay, even during the Soviet Union, Jews felt in Georgia safer than any other country in the Soviet Union. And they had the freedom of religious in Georgia more than any other country in the Soviet Union. Okay, because the communism was against religious. So here they had freedom.
Mr. Benish, is there some businessmen, you're prominent businessman even worldwide, you know, you're world-class businessman. Are there some businessmen that inspires you, or entrepreneur, businessman, like, or who inspired you before, or who inspires you now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that along the way there were many businessmen that I read about or heard them talking, speaking, and they inspired me. I think that what works for me, yes, everyone wants to make money. Everyone wants to make more money, okay? But I understood long ago that I can only eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, okay? And sometimes I don't even eat that. But I can't eat soup with 2 spoons, okay? And there are things that sometimes the meaning for me, I don't know, there are no leftovers with money, okay? But if you spend time, and if you spend effort, and if you spend energy, even that 1 hour that I'm spending here, okay, I'm not gonna make money out of it, but if I will make, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, 10 people open their minds and understand something from this interview, okay, and take it for their life, it's valuable for me. It's meaning something for me. It means that I can touch somebody or somebody's life and make him a change that it will be influential for himself, for his family, for his children, and that's what makes me happy. And that's why I'm involved in charity. I'm spending a lot of time and a lot of efforts and a lot of money supporting sometimes people that nobody cares about them. Okay? Look, in Georgia, for example, Archi supports sportsmen, and many of the medalists of Georgia supported by Archi. The strongest man in the world supported by Archi, Lashat Talakwadze. In Israel, a few years ago, I was approached by a relative of mine telling me, look, there's an organization I'm supporting and my business is not so well now, and do you mind joining me and supporting me? I said, why not? Let's see what it's about. And this gentleman took me to an organization that was supporting teenagers that were somehow or disabled or autistic, but they were definitely, harmed somehow during their life or their births, or along the way they came to in age of 13, 14, and they were in some kind of institution where basically they are not regular students, or their life potential is not regular or not as usual that we can imagine. And yeah, we are lucky that we are healthy. I'm lucky that I have healthy children, but not everybody is lucky as that. So, I mean, we can, as a community, can stay and look at them from the outside, or say, okay, send them to this institution and just give me the peace of mind. Whatever I need to pay, I will pay and forget about it. And there were people that came and said, okay, let's think what can be changed to give those people, those unique people, those angels, better chances in life. And what they do is basically they treat them in special hostels. They treat them with a horse ranch that they open there, and basically what made me gave me the motivation to support them was that I know that for Israeli family that their son or their daughter can't go and serve the army is a huge, huge problem, because it's a army that it's a mandatory service, okay? And if somebody doesn't go or can't serve the army, feels very bad, because he or is sick, or is disabled, or is having some different problems that he can't serve the army, or is a criminal and the army doesn't want his service, okay? But if you want to serve the army and the army doesn't want you because the kind of liability the army needs to take to host you in the army, it's problematic. Somebody, for example, in a wheelchair, okay? Imagine what kind of efforts the army need to do to take you serve. Yeah, you're not going to be fighter, okay? But basically, this organization takes those people and provide them whatever they need to, in the first years, to volunteer in the army, okay, and go to wear the uniform and go to the bases 2 times a week and do something. Okay, and imagine that you're a soldier in the army, that you was taken for 3 years volunteering, okay, and you every day come and say, oh, why do I need it? I could go to the university, I could study, I could start my life earlier, okay? And then you see those people, they don't have to, okay? They're real volunteers. They can stay home in a safe place, okay, but they are going to do something sometimes technical, sometimes that you don't really value it as a support or as a service. But when you see those people coming from their own motivation, coming with their happiness, and when you see the families that sending those people, those children, okay, to serve the army, it's a feeling that it's, I mean, when I see those mothers with the tears in their eyes and telling me, look, Meni, thanks to you, you made my dream come true. You made my children's dream to join the army, to be one of everyone. Okay, it's something that fills my heart. And I think that it's a feeling that you can't get even by gaining 1 more million. That's the difference that I feel. Yes, it's a position in life that you can do it. You can support other people. But I think it's the feeling that now I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give on it. And I wish myself to be able to give more. I wish myself to be able to teach, to coach, whatever you call it, others to do the same. Because I believe that whatever you give, you get much more back. And if you don't want to give, you will never get.
That's a very Jewish principle. You know, in Judaism, you can test God by charity, meaning that give charity and test God. Let's see if He will give you back, and He will always give you back. But that's very interesting that it's ingrained in the way you're thinking. How do you raise your children, if you want to talk about it? What type of father you are? Are you strict? Are you relaxed? Are you spoiling them? Are you making them more, living some difficulties just to build them? How would you approach this? It seems very interesting.
I think part of everything you mentioned, but I think I'm trying to be a good father. I'm trying to be involved father. Trying to be involved in their social life and in their education, and also in the fun. So I'm traveling a lot with them. For example, we're traveling next week for a ski vacation. We have Hanukkah holidays in Israel, so they don't have school. I'm taking them to ski. I have 3 daughters. One of them is in the army, and 1 baby boy, 8 months old. So the older daughter is going to finish the army in 3 months. The second one is 16 years old in 2 months, and the little one is going to be 13 in next month. So first of all, I feel that I'm a friend with them. I mean, I'm 53 years old. I'm not a young father, okay? Because I was busy building my life, building my career, and started a family late. But I think that there's no such happiness like having children, and I'm proud of them, first of all. They're good girls. The boy is still small, but the girls are amazing, and they are, I think, getting some of everything. They are sometimes spoiled. They are sometimes, I'm sometimes tough with them, but I think I should be more. And there is always a wish to be more involved and to know more about them. But we are in the age that the verbal communication, unfortunately, becoming less and less. And with WhatsApp and other methods of communication, sometimes we even save on saying good morning by calling and saying good morning, and sometimes we just text. And I think it's sometimes the technology that we are, let's say, adapting to our life, creating some, disabilities, I would say.
Are you dealing with this, like maybe saying, okay, you will not have your phone, or you just let things go?
I'll tell you what, I think that when I was a student in school in Poti, for example, if I would forget homework, okay, the punishment was to stand in the corner, okay, for an hour or two, okay. I think that the worst punishment you can give to a child today, take him the phone for a day, or for 2, or for 3. I think it's a kind of punishment that no child can suffer, because they don't know what to do. If they have 5 minutes spare, 5 minutes, they don't know what to do without their phone. Okay, so yes, I think it's a disability that grows. Okay, and soon, I mean, I don't maybe 10 years from now, the phone that we know as we know now will be totally different. Okay, we can, I don't know, even now there are technologies that drive me crazy. My relative is working for a company that basically you don't need to text, you just move the hand.
Wow.
Okay, and the Apple Watch is
haptic, yes, okay, wow.
Just move the hand, you're typing. So I guess that we are lucky to live in the age that the kind of changes that happen technology-wise in those, I don't know, 20, 30 years are totally changing the world. And the next 30 years will be even more dramatic.
Are you optimist with the future?
Future of what?
The world.
Yeah, I think.
You've always been an optimist?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Sometimes people friends of mine are laughing at me that I'm too optimistic. But I think that being a pessimist, it only kills you. I mean, what are you going to get out of it? So if you think that you're pessimist about something, try to do something to change it. But
Warren Buffett says the future belongs to optimists.
Yeah,
that's true.
True. It's true. I think it's you're changing yourself to passive when you become a pessimist. So because you're pessimist because you're passive. Okay, if you believe that there's something bad and you can't do anything about it, okay, try to change it. Try to find the right partner, or try to find the right people around you or beside you to make some change. Otherwise, what's the point?
Are you mostly with partners? You try to find partners. You don't go alone in general when you do some business.
I'm doing sometimes things alone, but even if I have, for example, I have a very interesting idea. I'm not going to share it here, but and I need to find the right people to run it. I mean, to start development. Okay, but I have an idea. Okay, without the right people, I'm not a software developer. Okay, I'm not a technology expert, so I can't make it happen. So I can find an employee. Okay, and I will give him a nice salary and tell him, look, this is the mission, go do it. But I think that if he's doing something that's going to change the world, okay, he should have some peace in it. He should have some, I mean, it doesn't matter now if it's 1% or 50%, okay? But even if he has half percent, he's a partner, right? Okay, yeah, it's always better to have 1% in Google, okay, than 100% in Schmoogle, okay? But make him a partner. Make him a partner. It doesn't matter now if it's a small piece or big piece. It's better to have him as a partner, especially when it's the beginning.
Do you believe in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, I think it's already changing the world. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is one thing. That blockchain technology is something that really definitely is going to change the world because it provides the kind of security that people need. Everywhere you go now, you're in danger. Okay, especially in the let's say the globalization that the internet providing. Okay, everywhere you get SMS might be fraud. You get some email, go do that, buy that. You try to buy it, you get nothing. Just pay money, and they take the credit card, and they can hack your business. Your bank account or credit card or whatever. So the danger is there. And the kind of security that blockchain technology provides, it's running fast.
Mr. Benish, I think you have lots of other things to do. Would you like to add something about maybe about Georgia, about your future plans, about how you see the future here in Georgia.
I'll try to add something that's not really related to Georgia, but maybe even to Georgia. I think that one of the bad things about the Soviet Union, that they created people that basically trust the government. They don't really do anything, okay, for themselves, or they don't really believe that they can do. So, I mean, trust the government is being dependent on the government, okay? And that was communism, okay? And people, especially the older people, for them, becoming capitalistic country, it's a trauma. Because when they work for in Israel we have kibbutz, for example. Even the kibbutzim are changing now. It's like a social community that everybody is donating whatever they can, and they share whatever and they take whatever they need, okay? It's a ideal system that maybe used to work once, but if you know that you're better, you don't want to give everything from yourself and take whatever you need, okay? You want to be, let's say, evaluated by your skills. So the biggest problem that this kind of communism created is that most of the people that you ask them about any business idea, about any question where there is a risk that you might fail, okay, the first answer will be, no, don't go for it. You will fail. You have no chance. So there are lots of entrepreneurs that might be watching this interview, and what I would like to suggest them, don't listen to the people that are telling you, stop, don't do it. Because most of the people will tell you, don't do it. They will tell you, don't do it, not because they don't believe in you, because they don't want to take the risk of being responsible of telling you, go for it. Because if they say, go for it, you might come back and tell them, you see, you told me to go for it and I failed. Okay? They don't want this responsibility. Nobody wants. So you better find the right people whose advice will be really meaningful for you, whose advice will be really in a way that they can really analyze your idea, really give you the right approach to the knowledge that without it you wouldn't go for it. And with it, at least you have more possibilities or chances to succeed. So the word no, okay, for me, it means to ask another question. And I think it's the most important or most valuable advice to any entrepreneur, because otherwise you will stay home, you will do nothing, and he will keep his life, okay, working for somebody while he has an amazing idea that he can make a very successful business.
One of the things that, one of the other objectives that we have here, and it's really exactly what you're saying, is to raise awareness of, raise self-esteem of your young Georgians. When they see you, you come from Poti, you had a very difficult childhood, as you said. But they see you now very successful, one of the biggest company, real estate company in the country. That gives some ideas. Oh my God, I can identify to this person. I can do the same. I can do, maybe not the real estate company, but I can do other things. And that's, we had also Georgi Tenadze, owner of Gastronom, and same, he went from 15 employee to 256 employee in less than 2 years and a half with a great product. And what I'm trying to say is that by showing and by looking at people who had the similar background than you have, maybe you're gonna start saying, okay, I can do something in my country. And I'm very sad when I see a young Georgian, just going abroad and that's it, just living there for, okay, maybe you're gonna have a higher salary, but you don't develop your country and you don't develop yourself basically, because you're gonna be, your increase in a foreign country, Germany, France, United States, is gonna be very steady. Here you can have an exponential growth, and when you're young. And I'm very optimistic about the young people. Have people like Anastasia here. She's 19 or 18? 18, huh? She's 18, very serious, very sharp brain. She wants to learn. She go deep into the details, and she has big ambitions. She wants to do something for her country. So I'm I'm very optimistic when I see people like this, and that's really joins what you're saying about people need to feel responsible. You know, the government's not going to help you. Maybe they can make the environments better, but they're not going to solve your problem. You are responsible yourself. Just your life, your body, you get to find the solutions yourself. And I really try towards this media to have this as well, you know, raising self-esteem of young Georgian. You can do things here, you can build things here, you can build yourself here, and showing also, and I think we merge on those two parts. You're saying we need more foreign capital here, foreign skills here, expertise, and that's the two things that we're doing. So, Mr. Benish, thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share the information that maybe I never shared, or maybe I've never shared in public. But I really believe that what you do now, especially for Georgia, it's meaningful. There are lots of people that have huge potential that if you just peel them like an onion, okay, you can find gold inside. And that's what we do. That's what we do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benish. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.